Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to be learning about portraits, and we're going to make a profile portrait. Can you say profile? All right. Today I have some first grade students who are 6 and 7. Do I have any 8-year-olds? Yeah. Okay, so we have some 8-year-olds. So this lesson is great for younger students. The first thing we need to do for our profile, if we're going to be making a profile, and if we look here, we'll see an example of a profile done by a very famous artist named Giuseppe Arcimboldo. If you go to the Louvre Museum and you are on your way to see one of the most famous paintings in the world, do you know what the most famous painting in the world is? One of the most? We learned about it. Mona Lisa. Oh yeah, that's one of the most famous portraits. So if you happen to go to Paris, France, and go into the Louvre, and you visit the Mona Lisa, on your way to the Mona Lisa, look what you get to see. Giuseppe Arcimboldo's side view profile portraits. And he did portraits in an unusual way. Well, today we're just going to learn how to draw portraits, but if you want to learn more about Giuseppe Arcimboldo and his unusual portraits and maybe make an unusual portrait of your own, you can look at some of my YouTube videos on Master Artists, and you'll find Giuseppe Arcimboldo's portraits lessons there. So let's get started with our side view profile portrait. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the top middle, or a little bit over to the side, the left side of our middle, more toward left side middle, and we're going to measure down how many fingers? 2. Put a little mark. And you're going to draw with me. Find your side middle. And here's my middle of my side. I'm going to jump up a little bit. And we're working, if you notice, in the left-hand corner of our page. Put how many fingers down to the edge? 2. Now notice the fingers touch the edge of the page. Jump over 2 fingers and give a guide. Artists use guidelines in their pictures. Do this now. You're putting guidelines in to help you create and measure. Leonardo, who lived during the time, or who lived right before the time of Giuseppe, actually, he developed guidelines for artists. Okay, now we're going to curve this into a C curve. And we're going to basically continue this curve and curve around until we have a very lightly drawn circular shape. It does not have to be perfect. This is the artist's guideline. If you notice here, if you've made a mistake, look, redraw it very lightly. It does not have to be perfect at this stage. This is our practice guidelines for portraits. Now, if we find the center of the circle and put your finger at the very bottom of your circle in the middle, I'm going to jump over just a little bit, and I'm going to put 2 fingers. And I'm going to put a guideline a little bit past both fingers. So I've jumped over, measured. I touched the edge of my circle, measured down a little bit more than 2 fingers, and I put a little guideline. Now, if you make a mistake, just continue. Now I'm going to round this up and have it join. Watch what I'm doing first. I'm taking the side of the circle and I'm bringing it down into a slight, careful curve, gently down until I meet this line. It's a slightly curving line. Do this slowly so that you don't bring your line too far. And I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm taking my circle, I'm bringing it down. See how there's this space between here? I want this to be a continuous line that's gently curving. I don't want to start here because then there'll be a bump I want this to all become one shape. And if I look at this shape, it's almost, if I turn it upside down, look at that. It's egg shape. You see this? So you want it to be one giant line. If your line ends here or here, just redraw it right on top. Don't worry about erasing right now. Just leave it. Okay. Now, if you feel your skull, this is our head, this will be our chin. Feel the back of your head where it meets the chin and move your head back and forth. You'll see the actual area where it meets. And then if you feel from your neck up the back of your head, your skull, feel where your skull is? And if you cut both hands around it, it's rounded. That's this part that we just drew here, the rounded skull. And this area here, feel what comes off under your ears. And move your bottom jaw up and down. Feel it moving? That's what this here, this is our bottom jaw to our chin. It comes off of the rounded skull, okay? So we're gonna put our neck in here. This is our jawline, and our neck, it doesn't come level with the back of our head. It comes in where the jaw meets. You see that? In the back of your head. It's going to come in this area. So we're going to curve it down. So this is the bump that we felt, and then our neck, and come under the chin and curve it down this way. So I'm curving it toward slightly in. Now I'm going to give a shirt line here. I'm just going to connect these two lines together. And then your back comes out and the front comes out this way. This is just your body here. And you can decorate your shirt on your own later. But what I want to do now is get your facial features in. So now we have the correct tilt of this egg-shaped skull, our egg-shaped head. Now we're going to go top, bottom, and find the center. Measure the center. Now, if we're just eyeballing this, we're just estimating our center. If it looks, I'm just going to put a guideline in near the edge here. And then what I'm going to do is find this edge, the bottom of my circle, and I'm going to come up slightly, and I'm going to go over toward the edge of my head. And at the edge of the egg shape, I'm going to put a line a little bit smaller than the width of my finger. So it's a little bit above the bottom of this circle. Come over, and it's a straight line coming out. This is going to form the nose. And if you feel your nose, how it sticks out, and if you look at somebody else's nose, the profile of their nose, it's almost triangular. So we're going to just round the edge here and bring it back to the head. Now, if you're going to draw a portrait of somebody's profile, you will then look, this is a guideline, you will then look at the person and see how the curve of this nose is, how large the nostril area is. Now, after it meets this face, we're going to put the letter C right in here. And again, you adjust it. Some people's nose is rounder at the top here, not as pointy. So you would adjust the nose as you look at the person in real life. Again, this is our guideline. Children's noses sometimes will be angled up here. Now we're going to go ahead and do our eyeball. We're going to put, it's almost going to be as wide as the height of our finger right in here. I'm going to do, it's like the backwards letter L, and then I'm going to bring this diagonally down and then bring this around to meet it. That's going to be our eyeball. From there, I'm going to slightly curve this. So I've taken the top, curved it, almost a backwards C, a C curve. This is going to be the color of your eye in here and your iris. And you can put some, if you want to stick a few little lashes in, it's a curve, curve, curve. And then they get smaller as they meet the bottom here. And again, you look at the person and see how their eye shape is, how much of the eye is showing, where the person is looking. It'll determine how wide their eyes open and close here. And your eyebrows right in here. And again, you look at the shape, you look at the person for the eyebrow detail. Now if we come down from the nose, I'm going to curve a backward C curve out. Almost like I'm making a circle. I'm going to curve out, and then I'm going to bring it diagonally down to meet this line here. So look what I've done. I'll bring it up close for you to see. I've taken this, and I'm almost making this the letter, actually it wasn't a backwards letter C, it was a regular C. I'm almost making this a C shape. See how it comes down and around? This is going to form the upper lip, and then I go back into the head. And then the bottom lip is a backwards letter C coming out. Just a small curve coming out. It's just a little bump. And then this just comes up to meet. And again, it's however the shape of the person's face is. Then this is the upper lip. And then this will form the chin underneath. You can slightly curve in. This is a slight curve in for the chin. And when you actually draw the person, you look at this curve. And then how is the chin shaped? Come down and round this. If you feel your chin, and you can move it, feel it, your flesh. This flesh is different on people. Some have more and some have less. The chin is shaped differently. And so I just gently rounded this out slightly. I didn't make it stick way out. Now, of course, if you want to draw a beard or whatever you're going to draw here, that's where you'll put your chin shape. But this is just a generic profile, meaning this could be anybody, and then you adjust it. Now, when you're looking at a profile, the side view of somebody's head, you see, look at somebody's ear. What shape or letter does that look like on its side view? Yes, the letter C. So if we measure, now your ears line up to where your nose, come to the center of your head, and put a guideline. Nose straight over guideline. The top of your eye or eyebrow, come over to the center of the head, guideline. And again, with people's ears, they can be any shape. Some have wider ears, some have bigger, but basically if you do the generic C shape, and then you can change the lobe if you're going to be doing a realistic portrait. You can change the lobe shape of whatever the earlobe looks like on the person. But this is a basic generic shape, the C shape. And inside someone's ear, you kind of have a U here, the inside details, and then it kind of curves around and connects. And then you have some darker values in here. Now, your hair, if you feel your hair, it comes off of your skull a little bit. It's kind of like an air-conditioned pocket. It comes out off your skull, and you would put your hairline in. Of course, if you're a male figure, you'd have it shorter hair, or sometimes the male hairs are as long, touching the back of the neck. And then if you have a female that's very long hair, you would put the hairlines in. Your hair comes and it hugs your face and neck. So this could be the hairline here, around your ear. Sometimes it covers your ear. And then however your bangs are, or your forehead. Sometimes you might have a part here on a hair. You might have a bang coming out, but it comes up and around the back of your head. So you would look at the subject, whoever you're trying to create, and you would put in the hair, the way their hair grows and flows. And I just put a few lines in because then we'll turn it into paint. Now sometimes if you're doing a female, you see some of the hair come back on this side of their body as well. It depends on your view of it. But this is a basic, generic profile for young students. And again, we are 6 and 7 years old here today, and a few 8-year-olds. So this will be simple for them. If you hold up your pictures, I'll select a few for my YouTube friends to see. And how old are you? 8. And I have I'll show an 8-year-old example. Here's our first profile portrait from an 8-year-old. And you would adjust the shapes to make it look a little bit more realistic, whoever you're creating today. Hope you have fun making your profile portrait.